I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode number 161. Tons of great stuff this week. This is a huge week. That's a big week. We've got comics from creator-owned places like Boom and Image. We've got new summer events for DC and Marvel. New number ones out the wazoo. So we're going to cover some of those this week. But there literally was a lot of great stuff this week. So come on in or get to your local comic book shop and get some goodness. First up for me is Nailbiter number 1. This is written by Joshua Williamson and art by Mike Henderson. Joshua Williamson also did Ghosted, or does Ghosted, over at Image, which is a book that we both have enjoyed. And if you can get past the creepiness of the cover on this one, and when I initially saw the solicitation for this book 2 months ago, I thought, that is a horrible cover that is not going to sell books. And it may not, although the first issue has already sold out at the publisher level and at the distributor level. We still have some because we had faith in it. Because I went past the cover. I looked at the inside, and it's just a great crime, murder, thriller type of thing. I should say that I've seen the second issue of this already as well. We got issue 1 and issue 2 in PDF format to preview before we had to order. And I don't want to mix up 1 and 2. I read them both together weeks ago. But this is basically about a small town in Colorado called Buckaroo, and has given birth to 16 different serial killers. So there is a cop that thinks, man, this is weird. I got to figure out what's the connection between all of these serial killers. Why are they all from the same place? And the most recent of the serial killers is nicknamed the Nailbiter, and that's where we get the title of the book. So it turns out that the Nailbiter is still around, and is very much a Hannibal Lecter type character from Silence of the Lambs. You know, he's there in the background. May be doing bad things, may not be doing bad things. So this cop is there, and then his friend shows up, and it's a very small town. It's got a very small town feel to it, but it's just written extremely well. I'm probably not doing it justice with my half-assed description here, but if you like movies like Seven or Silence of the Lambs, or you just like good stories with good artwork, Nailbiter is the way to go. You should absolutely give it a shot. I enjoyed it.
And my pick of the week this week is Cyclops, number 1 from Marvel Comics, written by Greg Rucka, with art by Someone Daughterman.
Someone's daughter, man.
Is there a
I think it's on the first
credits page on here?
Oh, there it is.
It's the end. Russell Daughterman. I apologize, Russell. He's the space artist. And Greg Rucka is credited as Space Writer, or Spa-Writer.
Spache Writer.
Yes. Spachemin. Basically, Cyclops from the 60s is in the present due to the stuff going on over in All New X-Men. They are stuck here, as we saw in Battle of the Atom. And during the trial of Jean Grey, he bumps into Corsair, his father. Now, from Scott's point of view, his father died in a plane crash when he was 8 years old. Our Scott, the older adult Cyclops, terrorist Cyclops, has met and interacted with his father repeatedly since then. But this Scott didn't even know his father was alive. And so this is about Corsair and Scott going off on a space adventure to kind of connect and get to know each other. And it's just a lot of fun. You know, there's fun space tropes. A lot of it is very relatable. You know, like when your dad took you on a space adventure when you were 15
and
or
your
whatever.
space pirate father.
But no, the things that they're both going through, you know, the Scott talking about how messed up his life is, and the way every adolescent feels when they're a teenager, and it's just very adolescent and teenager. There's a whole thing there. Yeah. But no, it's just incredibly relatable and very resonant, and plus there's space battles, and they fight the Badoon. Sorry, not baboons.
From John Carter, Warlord of Mars?
No, those were something else.
Okay.
Isn't it Badoon?
I don't know. It is in this book, yeah.
Yeah, well, they've been bugging the Marvel Universe for like 40 years.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, they were in the original Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. See, now I'm going to have to look up what the other ones are. But lots of fun. Space adventure, if you like Star Wars, if you like coming-of-age stories, if you like Greg Rucka, who's one of the best writers in comics, and this just reaffirms that is the case.
Yes. There was really no doubt in my mind that both of us would enjoy this book. It's written by Greg Rucka, as Josh said. But I want to give a shout-out to Russell Dauterman. Was really impressed by the artwork. A lot of times you end up with, and I've said this before, usually about different publishers, but you get A-list writers with kind of D-list artists, and it drags the story down. But I really enjoyed the artwork with this. It's very clean, but also just kind of leaps off the page at the same time. Good stuff. Another indie for me this week, and this was just a big week for two kind of high-profile creator-owned books. Nailbiter was the first, and the next one is from Boom Studios called The Woods, and this is by James Tynion IV, protege, Padawan of Scott Snyder, and artwork by Michael Dialinis. This is every teen high school TV show or movie that you've ever seen, but better. It's, you know, a lot of people are comparing it to Morning Glories. In Morning Glories was compared to Breakfast Club to some degree. You know, this could be, just picture any group of, we're back to the adolescent. Adolescent is the theme of the week. High school kids with different backgrounds, with different characteristics. You know, you've got the jock, you've got the clown, you've got the nerd, you've got the student council president, you've got the big guy that doesn't want to play football, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And their school is mysteriously, instantaneously transported to an alien world. So what happens next? And it's a great setup. The writing is top notch. Truly enjoyed it. Anybody who is a fan of Morning Glories should absolutely check this out. But it looks like we're already kind of making more forward progress in this first issue than we did with some of Morning Glories. But that's the closest book that I can connect it to, is probably Morning Glories. You get a group of, different kids together who are drawn together for some reason, but this is just a regular school. I'm just not making sense.
It's like Degrassi
anymore.
Meets Stargate.
Yeah, it's Boy Meets World meets Stargate.
I love it.
It's everything meets Stargate with high school.
Yeah, so these kids in their high school has been spontaneously transported.
Who said all that?
Yeah, but he tripped over it.
You're going to try and tie it together?
That's all right.
Put a bow on it?
It was great.
It is great. Well, there's the brainiest guy who apparently had great test scores to get into MIT, but his GPA was not high enough. Has everything figured out, apparently, and he's leading a group of these kids out into the woods to solve the mystery. So he's kind of like Freddy from the Scooby Gang. Not really. He's kind of like, what's that guy? Freddie Prinze.
Freddie Prinze Jr.? From the Scooby movie?
Yes, we're way off on tangents here.
Does he have a mascot?
Bottom line, and you may look at the cover of this book. Again, the cover is okay, but you got to look past the cover and get to the story, and it's a really strong story. Highly recommended.
Cool. Next up, Marvel's not Marvel. We're going to do a quick twofer here. The two big summer event books are the two new books kicking off both from Marvel and DC. On the Marvel side of the aisle, we've got Original Sin 1. We both liked Original Sin 0, but we liked Original Sin 1 a lot more. This is a classic Marvel event book. You've got all of your different Avengers coming up. You've got different teams operating at different places. And I love some of the pairings. How we see the way they're broken up. I can't remember the exact pairings. It was Moon Knight and...
Moon Knight's with, Star-Lord and someone else, and Punisher's with Doctor Strange, and Nick Fury, old guy Nick Fury, traditional Nick Fury, is back, and no one is talking about it, apparently. He's just there. He's hanging out in a diner having breakfast with Wolverine, Captain America, and Black Widow. Just as Josh said, if you're looking for Marvel's big thing this summer, Original Sin is it, and the first issue is off to a great start. Solid artwork by Mike Deodato, written by Jason Aaron, whom we love, writing everything.
Yeah, so the punchline is, well, not the punchline, the through line is, who shot the Watcher, and how does Nick Fury get the job done to figure out who shot the Watcher? Just lots of fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
And over on the other side of the aisle, we've got Futures End 1. Now, if you're in for awesome free comic book day here or anywhere else, you got a sneak peek at Futures End 0. Well, you got the whole issue of Futures End 0, which kicked it off. And we see things have gone horribly wrong 35 years in the DC universe's future, and Bruce Wayne is the only one that can save us all and leap back in time to stop what's happening from happening. Except if you read the 0 issue, you know that doesn't work. Batman failed. But Terry McGinnis, his sidekick from the future, managed to leap in his place. Unfortunately, the machine was calibrated for Bruce, so Terry winds up 5 years too far in our future. 5 years not far enough back in his future, in his past. So about 5 years ahead of the current DC universe, and Terry is trying to get his bearings and still stop the horrible OMAC apocalypse that's going to happen in the future. We get appearances by Grifter, who is really interesting to me because I'm not a Grifter fan, but in here it kind of jumps you right in the middle of what's going on with him, and it was cool. He's like hunting people down, and it seems like he knows more about what's going on, maybe. Or he's crazy. That's not impossible.
This is a formula that DC has used before with 52 and with those other books that I can't remember.
Countdown.
And here's why this is going to work, and here's why this first issue works. So your main characters in this book are, so far, Batman Beyond, Grifter, and Firestorm. All three of them have had books canceled. So the solution is give us small doses of each of those characters in a book. So I can handle 3 or 4 pages of Grifter and be interested in seeing what happens next. I can handle 3 or 4 pages of the new and improved Firestorm and am curious to see what happens next. I love Batman Beyond. I think everyone loves Batman Beyond, so that's great. Make him the main character. So stuff happens in this. We see there's a team that apparently is obliterated 5 years in our future. There's a Justice League member also obliterated 5 years in our future. It's a great setup, and again, it's a weekly series, so we're going to get an issue every week, along with Batman Eternal and the upcoming Multiversity or whatever. I don't remember what it's called.
Someday.
Yes, but it was very enjoyable.
No, and I think the real secret, and what they did with 52 that they maybe didn't do with the other weekly series, is getting the right creative team. 52 had an all-star cast of writers, and it was great. And Future's End has a pretty respectable list. We've got Brian Azzarello, who's been rocking it on Wonder Woman. Keith Giffen, who's written everything in the DC universe at one point or another. Dan Jurgens, creator of Booster Gold. Is that true?
Co-creator.
Co-creator.
Might be sole creator. I don't know. He created his soul.
And Jeff Lemire, who's reinvigorated a number of different DC titles lately.
Yeah.
So
they've got a great bullpen working on this, and artwork by Patrick Zurcher this time around. They're going to have a rotating team of artists. If you're a DC fan, there's no way that you cannot miss this. You cannot pick this up? I don't know.
That's better.
You should absolutely pick this up.
You should get it.
If you're a DC fan, if you're new to the DC universe, you can even pick it up and get in on the ground floor with this. It was good stuff. Everything's good stuff this week. Amazing Spider-Man. So last week, let's go back in time. Let's bust out the TARDIS.
Go back in time.
Or the Quantum Leap Accelerator, or
the DeLorean.
Yes. We got Amazing Spider-Man #1 last week by Dan Slott. This week we get Amazing Spider-Man 1.1, also by Dan Slott, with artwork by Ramon Perez. And this is an origin story. This is a kind of fill in the blanks of Peter's original origin as when he becomes Spider-Man. This is shortly after he's bitten by the radioactive spider. We actually get to see Uncle Ben's funeral in this issue, and it is a miniseries. I don't remember if it's 4 or 5 issues, but it's going to be published alongside of Amazing Spider-Man. So hopefully that won't confuse too many people. I think we've had some people already confused by it. But it's called Learning to Crawl is the name of the story, and it introduces some new characters. It lets Dan Slott play around in the Silver Age Spider-Man universe, which is kind of cool, and it's got good artwork by Ramon Perez. So this is, again, a no-brainer for current Spider-Man fans, but I enjoyed it. It's Dan Slott writing Spider-Man. I will always enjoy it. Yes.
And we got a good lead into it last week with some of the back sections in Amazing 1 picked up directly in here.
Yeah.
Very cool. And last up, also from the Spider-Verse over at the House of Ideas, we've got Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, #1.
Numero uno.
This is written by Brian Bendis with art by David Marquez?
Yes.
Awesome. And this picks up... So I was going to say Spider-Man. This picks up Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man, after the end of... What was the name of the big Ultimate thing?
Cataclysm?
Cataclysm. I was going to say Ultimatum, but that was the last time. It was Last Stand of the Ultimates was the Cataclysm thing. So after Cataclysm, everything's jacked up. Just like in the actual Marvel movieverse, the S.H.I.E.L.D. is sort of disintegrating and being parted out. Captain America was killed, who was president at the time.
President Captain America.
President Steve Rogers was killed. And so we've got Morales picking up, during Ultimatum, he revealed himself to his father, and his father kind of wigged out on him. He sort of yelled at him and told him that he was responsible for his mother's death, which is an extrapolation at best, but he was angry. You know, you get emotional. And so he's been kind of living with his friend's parents or with his friend's family. He's got this new girlfriend, Katie Bishop, and it's about where he's at and what's going on. And we do get some nods to what's going on with the other Ultimate books. She's asking him where he was last night, and he thinks about the Ultimate Avengers. I'm sorry, the Ultimates. Ultimate titles are dumb.
They are.
Like, the way they structure the names of the teams drives me insane. But the big reveal in here is, not reveal, but the big thing we've got going on here is because S.H.I.E.L.D. is being parted out, Norman Osborn is being transferred into other hands, and Norman Osborn is always the big bad. So he's very creepy in this. Like, it was unsettling, actually. I would have, he's all,
I don't know if they,
I'll let you read
if
it.
they took his teeth out or cut his tongue out, or we can't understand what he's saying. He's a translator, apparently, who can figure out what he's saying. And he's drawn very differently from... I love Marquez's artwork. He worked on Ultimate Spider-Man before. But Norman just looks completely different than a lot of the... Marquez's art style is kind of evolving and changing, and it was good before. It's even better now.
Yeah. That layout's really cool, too.
Yeah.
It's nice work. So, Ultimate, you already know if you want this or not. If you're reading Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, you want it. If you like Spider-Man, you want it.
Yeah, it's... I don't know how many times I can say the same thing over and over again, but I'll keep trying. The character of Miles Morales is one of the best characters in the Marvel Universe right now, and it's easily accessible. The books are easily accessible to everyone in collected edition, either in hardcover or softcover, and now we've got a new series that is a perfect jumping on point if you're curious about the Ultimate Universe's new Spider-Man and the character of Miles Morales. He's not going anywhere. I know some people were bent out of shape when the character was introduced, but from a reader's standpoint, I think he's a great character. From a retailer standpoint, I think he's a great character. From a father's standpoint, I think he's a great character. The guy wins all around, and this is truly Bendis doing what he does best. This has been his baby from the very beginning, back in 2000 when the series launched with Ultimate Peter Parker, and it's just been a joy to read. I don't remember a time when I didn't enjoy Ultimate Spider-Man, even through 25 different name changes and title changes and whatever. So now is the time, folks, if you want to show your support to Marvel for new characters, for interesting characters, and kind of reward them for doing something really good, pick up whatever that's called. Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, #1. All right, so we had 2 Spider-Man books in our list this week, and we had Spider-Man 2 Electric Boogaloo come out last week. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Is there a subtitle? It's just called The Amazing Spider-Man 2, isn't it? So we decided today we're going to do our top 5 Spider-Man movies. What is that you say? There are only 5 Spider-Man movies? You are correct. So we will see what order. We did not discuss this in advance. Yes. We'll see if it's kind of like the dating game, but we'll see if our answers match up here, or if we have different views on the Spider movie verse. Okay. So,
you want to start at the bottom and work up, or start at the top?
Let's start with
down?
number 5.
Number 5, the worst of the 5
Spider-Man. The worst
Spider-Man
of the 5
movies.
Spider-Man movies, and I think we'll be on the same page with this.
Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Horrible, horrible, horrible. Too many villains, poorly executed. Sam Raimi's heart just was not in it. And, that's...
Dancing goth Tobey Maguire.
It
wasn't even goth. What was that term that's not thrown around anymore? It was a term at the
Emo?
time. Yes. Emo Peter Parker. Jazz hands Peter Parker. Spider-Man 3.
Movie.
Of the 5 Spider-Man movies, number 5 for us. We're both in agreement. Spider-Man 3.
Matter of fact, I would almost make it number 6. I would rather have no Spider-Man movie.
I would put it after that Asian Spider-Man movie where he fights a robot.
Or the Italian one from the 60s.
Yeah. Okay, so number 4, working our way towards number 1. Number 4, what are you going with?
Okay, let me do the math here. I've got to go with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I'm in disagreement, so carry on.
Okay. How spoilery are we getting here?
There will be spoilers here, folks.
There will be spoilers. Here be spoilers.
By the time this is up on the interwebs, the movie will have been out for over a week.
That's how long you get.
That's how long you get if you're a comic book fan to see the movies.
I felt like Amazing Spider-Man was just really not well executed.
2, right?
I'm sorry, yes, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not very well executed. I felt like Electro was dumb. Like, not that he was physically stupid, but that he was just not well executed. He wasn't compelling in any way. He just seemed like Milton from Office Space. And like, my stapler, and I went to pet the eels. And, I mean, the shooting was not very good, and part of this is it hurts that it came out right after Captain America, because Captain America was shot so well, especially the first scene, not the first scene, but the first big action piece.
The opening sequence, yeah.
When, with the parents and the plane crash, it's all jumbled, and you can't tell what's going on, and it's not well X-blocked.
Xbox. What?
It wasn't well X-blocked. Harry Osborn annoyed me. Could we get, 1994 Keanu Reeves to voice this? And I just infuriated. I didn't care for it, and I felt like it was poorly done. Number 4. So what's your number 4?
All right. So I'm kind of struggling with this because I actually enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man 2, but we'll get to that. It's further up my list. I'm going to go with Spider-Man 1. Okay. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 for several reasons. And keep in mind that we have the benefit of hindsight here, and we have the benefit of 2 new Spider-Man movies not starring Tobey Maguire. So, Tobey Maguire was a horrible Peter Parker. Kirsten Dunst was a horrible Mary Jane. But we went to see them and liked it because that's all we had. But that's all that we had. Better. After years and years of Spider-Man being in development in Hollywood, we finally were given Spider-Man, directed by Sam Raimi, with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and Willem Dafoe, and it felt very much like the 1989 Batman movie to some degree. Which at the time, again, everyone loved, but then we got the Nolan Bat movies, and they blew the other ones away. To me, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies blow the Tobey Maguire movies away, for the most part. First off, again, I didn't like either of the primary actors in the original Spider-Man movies. I thought the Green Goblin was disastrous in the original Spider-Man movie, with his suit of armor and his over-the-top portrayal. Yeah. That's what I got. So, Spider-Man numero uno. I don't know why I'm speaking Spanish. Cinco de Mayo. Oh, that was 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was in the past.
So, yeah, okay. Number 3. We're up to number 3. What's your number 3?
My number 3 would be Spider-Man 1. I didn't feel it was as bad as you felt it was, but you're right. I like Tobey Maguire for about 30 minutes when he's nerdy Peter Parker, clumsy, goofy Peter Parker. And just when he's first figuring out the powers, once he's Spider-Man, totally not
Go
fine
Web
for
Go
me.
is still funny.
It is, and Shazam.
Shazam, yes.
But there are moments in there that I still like. Like, if you put yourself in the place for the time, I understand why I love that movie so much. Sure. And I still enjoy it. I will still watch it if it's on TV. I won't put the DVD in, but, like the thing at the end, where he gives the speech at the funeral, and he's like, and I am Spider-Man, it was compelling, and it was something we hadn't seen before, so.
Yeah. All right, so, what are we on here?
You're on your 3.
My number 3 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, not that far off from where Josh was with that. But I think our views on it are a little bit different. The first half of the movie for me was very slow. There's a lot of talking, there's a lot of relationship stuff, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But when you're going to see a Spider-Man movie, you expect to see Spider-Man. And it was a little too much Sam and Diane or Moonlighting for me, where will they, won't they, should we be together? I know I'm giving pop culture references that many of you don't remember because you weren't alive when they were on. But it just got a little tedious. But, and I agree. I think the character of Electro was wasted. I think it was, yes, he was Dr. Manhattan meets Milton from Office Space. Yeah, this didn't work. But what did work for me was Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. I like Sally Field as Aunt May. I like the more modern Aunt May, although she's not as modern as Ultimate Aunt May, but she's not the frail old woman that was in the Tobey Maguire movies. We're going to spoil it here. So stuff happens, and I don't know if I want to spoil it or not. I don't like giving that much away. But I felt that parts of the movie were very faithful to the comics. I felt that the emotion that was on display, specifically from Andrew Garfield, was very genuine and real and felt heartfelt. There's a scene in here also where there's a kid that is saved from being beaten up by bullies by Spider-Man, and the kid shows up later when Spider-Man has gone missing because he's dealing with stuff. and the kid's in a Spider-Man costume, and he puts on the mask, and he goes out to confront the Rhino by himself. And it was just a very cool, it was kind of an emotional scene. One of the reasons why I enjoyed this movie is I think taken with the first film, it makes a good package. It's the films happen really one right after the other, and because of the talent that was involved with it, primarily Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, that's why it's number 3. And I will definitely rewatch it. I just recently rewatched the first film prior to seeing the second film, and it was only the second time I'd seen it since seeing it in the theater. And it holds up very well. I mean, it's not that old. It's only a couple of years old, but it's one that you can watch over and over again.
Cool.
I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah.
I rarely make sense. Number 2.
All right, number 2 for me is going to be the Amazing Spider-Man 1. It got things better than the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1 did. I like that we started with Gwen Stacy. I thought that was essential to doing the formula properly. We got Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben, and
Sally Field.
No, I was thinking of the guy who played him in the first, Cliff Robertson. Cliff Robertson was good as Uncle Ben, but Martin Sheen is more of an icon, and so it was good. I like
the iconic Martin Sheen.
Dude, Martin Sheen's a big deal. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I was sort of tentative on certain elements of it. I don't like Peter getting his webbing stuff from Oscorp somehow, possibly stealing it.
It's better than having organic web shooters.
It is better than having organic web
out
shooters.
Of his anus.
That is true. Then that's another way in which it was superior. No anus shooting.
So, Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man.
Is your number 2.
It's also Dennis Leary as Captain Stacy was really good for me.
It was cool, yeah. There's just a lot to like about it.
Yeah.
The humor was good.
Yes, that was something that was utterly lacking.
And that's something I think to go back a step, I think the humor in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was also good. There were several. It
was, the beginning was actually too goofy for me.
It was too goofy in the beginning.
Juggling, like, he's throwing these radioactive vials in the air and leaving them hanging. He throws a machine gun up in the air so it lands and hits the Rhino. It's a populated city, Peter. You can't drop a freaking automatic weapon on people.
That's right. But there's a great scene, we're back to Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he goes to the convenience store to get some cold medication, and he's very congested, and it sounds funny. He's wearing like his Marty McFly life preserver jacket and a hat. The whole thing with the bullhorn and working the fire hose worked real well. Number 2 for me is also the Amazing Spider-Man 1. Number 1, and we're going to be on the same page with this.
The same one left. Yep.
It's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. Despite my despite my hatred for Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, I feel that the overall story wins out with that one. The Otto Octavius storyline.
By far the best villain.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I liked him better than any of the villains we've had in any of the other movies either.
Yeah, so. Yeah. He was the most well-rounded, the most three-dimensional.
Because he was fat.
What was his name?
Alfred Molina.
Savito.
Yes.
From Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yes. His portrayal of Otto Octavius was great. There were a lot of kind of hold your breath moments in it. You know, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? Just action packed, well shot, well paced.
Yeah. The subway scene, or not subway, it was
the L train. Yeah, the L train.
And people
scene
lift
was
them
great.
up, and yeah.
Yeah,
we really we really like him. Spider-Man 2.
We really like him.
I like him.
All of a sudden,
now I'm Milton from Office.
Yes. So that's our top 5 of the top 5 Spider-Man movies
in order.
Rank yours in the comments below. All right. Well, thank you for your feedback and your comments. We're getting some good comments on the videos every week. Share it with your friends, families, neighbors. Hide the kids, hide the wife. We needed like a sign-off line. You have one?
No.
Not off the top of your head?
Wear a condom.
Oh, God. Good night. See you next time.